Welcome back to Killarney International Raceway and Extreme Festival action round number 1. We move into Global Touring Cars and the Global Touring Cars Super Cup now. After the big action at Kyalami, round 2 makes its way out onto the brand new tarmac here at the Killarney International Raceway, the Global Touring Cars and the GTC Super Cup. And it's going to be an epic battle at the front end with Toyota looking to dominate once again with Robert Volk. The GTC Super Cup, it's wide open, and certainly there's a lot of drivers that are looking forward to getting these practice sessions done and dusted and then getting onto the track in qualifying to make sure that they can be at the front end. Robert Volk has certainly been there for a long time, and Natia Samanga is about to join him in the Gazoo Racing Corolla. And on pole position for GTC Super Cup, it's Bradley Murg.
So guys, we just got back from quali, managed to pip Keegan Campos to pole position. Yeah, it was a little bit tough out there. The track this morning was a little bit damp, so that was constantly like ramping up every single lap. But yeah, like I say, managed to come out on pole, and yeah, we'll see what the race holds. I think it's going to be a bit tight. Luckily, the heat isn't here today, so I think the racing will be pretty close. We can follow each other a little bit more without losing too much power. So yeah, like I say, we look forward to the race, and we'll see what happens.
Chance now for the fans to get up close and personal with the Global Touring Cars and GTC Super Cup before we get into race number 1. Dunlop girls are there, and lots of photos and selfies being taken by the fans. They love getting up close with these drivers and cars, and there's a couple of new cars out there as well, which are certainly turning heads and looking forward to being at the front end of what is expected to be a big fight. That young man there is certainly going to be up for the challenge. Josh LaRue on home soil. Definitely looking for a chance to come from 6th place on the grid. Sawad Variawa is the man to catch though. Robert Volk alongside him, and Samanga and Rackstraw and Van Rooyen and LaRue make up the GTC starting grid. As they come under starters orders now, will Sawad Variawa be able to outgun Robert Volk into turn 1? Bradley Murg's on pole for GTC Super Cup. Campos alongside him, Mahotsi and Bishop the second row. Then it's Neveling and Diaz and Carello. We're under starters orders for GTCs. Lights are about to go off. We're on board with Natia Samanga as they head down the left-hand side. It's Gazoo Racing down the left-hand side of this field. They literally line astern there into turn 1. Late braking from Nati, locks up slightly. That forces Rackstraw into a little bit of maneuvering there for Lee Thompson Racing, and he tucks in behind Michael Van Rooyen. So we've got Gazoo's 1, 3 and 4 at the moment, with the Robert Volk car tucked in there. The WCT and Investcare machine trying to find a way to the front end. Look at Josh LaRue really applying pressure as well. Speaking of pressure, here they come into turn 1, and Liebenberg just hanging on to that inside line and the whole shot, with Campos applying huge amounts of pressure. He runs a bit wide, and Mahotsi dives on his inside. So it looks like Jonathan Mahotzi's moved up into 2nd place, goes defensive to keep out Campos. Watch in the background, they're starting to fan things out. Neveling getting side by side there with Tate Bishop, and look at Diaz and Diaz, Tata Carello there as well. This is a superb start from the GTC Super Cup category. Back to the front end. Look, oh, it's getting very close. Natia Samanga is right there. What a turnaround here from this young man. Absolutely loving life in this Gazoo Racing Corolla. He hasn't got the new car yet. He's still in the old car, and he's absolutely flying with the man who's also in one of the older versions of the Toyotas, and that is the chemical logistics machine of Volk. In 2nd, trying to find a way through on Sawad. Sawad Variawa, though, going defensive at every single occasion and keeping those boys out for the first lap. Brad Liebenberg in the Hype Energy car getting away now from the Nathan's Motorsport and Genuine Parts car of Jonathan Mahotsi, and Mahotsi has got huge pressure from Keegan Campos. How tight do you want it? Look at that back bumper and rear bumper and the front bumper, so close as they came out of turn 1 between Volk and Sawad Variawa. Volk hangs on, he tucks in behind. Look at Natia Samanga getting a little bit out of shape there. That's allowing the other two cars to close in, particularly Rackstraw. The Lee Thompson Racing Golf GTR 8 is absolutely hauling. He's got through now and cements that 4th place. We're on board with Natia Samanga, and what is this on his windscreen? Looks like there might be a little bit of water coming up on that windscreen. Will he be able to watch out for that the whole race? It's going to be a bit of a mission to keep that car on the road if it doesn't cool down, and water coming out of the radiator or somewhere is going all over that windscreen. And it's definitely affecting his ability. The vision is going to be a problem there as well. As you can see, he's closed down by Rackstraw down that back straightaway. With Global Touring Cars, remember, you'll see the hazard lights come on if they go to push to pass. And it is so close here between these guys as they come flying down into Cape Town corner. Fostron is the sponsor here, and Lee Thompson Racing is the sponsor on Rackstraw's car as he tries to find a way through there. Not going to be easy though. Natia Samanga is fired up. He has got a hard-charging Michael Van Rooyen on his tail, who's not quite having it go his way this weekend. Michael Van Rooyen in Cape Town is usually an untouchable force, and he's really battling this weekend. He was talking to me earlier in the day and speaking about the different aerodynamic packages that are available on the Corolla and on the Yaris, and he's saying maybe that little hatch is taking a little bit extra strain here for Gazoo Racing. Similar vein to what we saw with the Golf GTIs originally when they came in, and they were just battling with the saloon car styles as opposed to the hatchbacks. Speaking of saloon cars, well, LaRue's put it into the kitty litter. That's a Cape Town corner, and Josh LaRue's out. There'll be double yellow flags waving down into turn 4, which means Neveling can't have a go. Neveling had a go here in GTC Super Cup, and he was having a go at Machotsi, but had to back out of it in the Super Cup category due to the fact that he saw those yellow flags very late in the day, and it's because of that stricken Audi on the outside. So the Super Cup class come to complete another lap and stay the same ahead at the front end. Of course, it is an amazing run here from Brad Lieberman. Look at the gap he's pulled over Campos. Campos in second, Machotsi in third. The Veloci Automobili machine absolutely hauling around there. Remember, he was a turn 1 man last year, and he's got new sponsors on the side of that car, and it seems to be paying off nicely. He just needs to find a little bit of extra pace to catch the back end of Brad. Machotsi's found just enough pace to keep out Arnie Neveling. Back to GDC's at the front end. And Robert Volk hangs on as they pass the stricken Audi on the outside. And you can see a little bit of battle scars there on Nathiem Simanga's car. Who's coming into contact with him? Was there a possibility of touch there between himself and Rackstraw's GTI? Good possibility. Looks like the water has dissipated slightly. It's whatever's left on the windscreen now that's just being blown off by the aerodynamics of that car as it goes down the main straightaway. But it doesn't look like it's leaking anymore. Maybe they just overfilled the water tank there and it was just pouring out. We'll have to keep an eye on it though. That's certainly a concern they'll be having down at Gazoo Racing if he's managed to radio that in. Right now, Saad Varial has got absolutely no concerns because the fight between him, his teammate, and second place Robert Volk is slowing Volk up slightly because he's having to go on the defensive to keep out Nathiem Simanga. Now, who would have thought that? Simanga's only been in this car for the 3rd time in anger in this race, and he's already into the top 3 in GDC, so he's certainly found his niche in this team, and he's loving life, fighting amongst one of SA's finest drivers. And at the front end, his teammate is getting away, showing that finest driver a clean pair of 4 wheels. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Variawa to hang on ahead of Volk. Volk has got no answer to Variawa, and he's going to have to go defensive at every single occasion to keep out the hard charge from Nathiem Simanga and Rackstraw, who will both be looking to hunt down their first victories in this GDC category. The two of them are starting to close things down there, and it looks like a little bit of a late charge coming from Rackstraw. He's closed that gap down. As they came out of turn 5, though, it looks like he might have just missed a gear or something because he dropped about 2 car lengths back there on the back end of Simanga. Simanga comes out and looks down into turn 1, just showing that Gazoo Racing machine of his on the inside to Robert Volk. And he's late on the brakes. In fact, he had a bit of a go there, actually. The Hype Energy GTI Polo is absolutely hauling, and I don't think Keegan Campos is going to have an answer. You can see Brad's rolled out of it ever so slightly, but it's just enough to control Keegan Campos, who's doing a similar thing to the rest of the pack in 2nd place. Checkered flag is out, and it's the Hype Energy GTI that takes the victory in the GDC Super Cup. Variawa already taking the deal in GDCs, beating out Robert Volk, Simanga, Rackstraw, and Van Rooyen. Liebenberg wins out over Campos, beats out Machotsi, and Neveling and Bishop 4 and 5. Let's catch up now with Saud Variawa.
Yeah, just want to run you through the race. Basically started off in pole position, which is first. Managed to maintain the gap, the lead. After lap 5, I just managed to pull a gap to the car in second, and just to maintain the gap, and yeah, finished off with the victory and the fastest lap. So that was awesome.
Welcome back to Killarney International Raceway and race 2 of the Global Touring Cars. Saud Variawa was the man to beat in race number 1. What have the rest of the teams done now to get their cars tweaked? Remember, we also got an inverted grid, so there's going to be a little bit of a change up here, and a good possibility that we're going to see Andrew Rackstraw and a couple of young drivers fighting for their first victories if they can turn their luck around. GDC Super Cup has been absolutely phenomenal this weekend, and Campos will certainly look to take one over Brad Liebenberg if he can in the start of race number 2. So Rackstraw is on pole, and the last time we saw that Golf GTI on pole with Lee Thompson Racing behind it, it took a victory. It was Brad Liebenberg behind the wheel. This time it's Rackstraw, as we look straight back into the eyes of the Audi and the eyes of Josh LaRue. It's Rackstraw who gets the whole shot, and Simanga is there into what is 2nd place. Look at Michael Van Rooyen trying to find a way through on Saud Variawa. Saud Variawa also looking for a chance there on Robert Volk as the 6 GDCs make their way down towards turn 2. Look at the gap already being opened up by Rackstraw. He realizes if he gets a little bit of a gap, he can do exactly what Brad Liebenberg did in his attempt to win one This is on board with the Veloci Automobili machine of the hard-charging Keegan Campos, and he's on the inside line, possibly going to have the whole shot ability. Yes, he does. Oh, a tag! A little tag between Campos. He comes together there with, looks like it was Arnie Neveling. Yes, it was. Neveling hangs on around the outside, still gets the whole shot, even though he came together with Campos. And on the inside, the angry racing car of Tate Bishop getting completely out of shape, dropping right to the back. In fact, the back just ahead of two cars. So not quite the last car on track. The two Diaz boys, I think, might be the last two there. But what a start there from GTC Super Cup. Neveling and Campos are not done yet. They're still side by side, and Liebenberg wants through. Brad Liebenberg was trying to just thread the needle there into turn number 1. Couldn't quite get it right. Unfortunately, he stayed out of it because the little tag between Neveling and Campos is allowed now Campos to get to the front end, and Liebenberg slots into second. So they sorted things out eventually. The Gosco car, though, a big protagonist in that first turn. And you can see, let's have a look at it from a replay point of view. Here comes Neveling. He turns in. Doesn't realize that Brad has already put his nose on the inside and trying to find a way through him and on the outside of the car that was literally blocking the way there. Campos just nowhere to go, tagged by both cars. There you go. 1, he catches it, and 2, he gets it again. Oh, brilliant onboard stuff there. Great driving skills there from Keegan Campos. And that put Tate Bishop onto the outside, and I think Toto Carello followed him through. So eventually Tate Bishop gets back on. He gets back on the entry point there from the WRX circuit and slots into third last place. So we've sorted everything out now because it's now Liebenberg leading from Campos. So it looks like they've got it all sorted up. But in the background, Machotzi going at it with Toto Carello, if I'm not mistaken. So a great turnaround there from him. But it's Liebenberg from Campos, Campos from Neveling. That's how they're going to probably end things up here, because that's the gaps that have opened up. At the front end of Global Touring Cars, though, here they come. And it's Natim Zamanga who's hit the front and maintained a couple of laps in the front end of the race. Can you believe that? It's only his third time out, and this is his 4th race ever, and he is absolutely hauling and loving life at the front end of a Global Touring Car Championship battle, ahead of 2 seasoned campaigners. Well, one of them, that of course is his teammate, Saad Variawa, who's looking for another victory. Can he keep it all together here? Is it going to be Lee Thompson Racing's Rackstraw to take the win? He's got an outside line, and he'll cut back onto the inside using that Cape Town knowledge. The Cape Town boys know exactly how to place these cars. And watch for the overtake here coming from Rackstraw, heading towards turn number 2. Oh, defensive driving from Msimanga, making Rackstraw go into the middle of the 2 Gazoo Racing machines. A little bit of a lockup. Is that enough? Yes, it is. Oh, you don't want to lock up there. He just ran slightly wide, and here comes Rackstraw, side by side with Natim Msimanga. Corolla versus GTI. Still some water coming out of this engine. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this one, but it must be affecting Natim Msimanga. He must be looking there going, what is going wrong with my engine? They're still side by side. We don't see Rackstraw's nose coming through just yet. It's just on the right-hand side of your shot. Here he comes. Oh, great positioning there from Rackstraw. And looks like, yes, Saad Variawa is going to go with him. Variawa goes with Rackstraw coming out of Cyril van der Merwe sweep. He is side by side with his teammate. It'll be who's got what it takes on the brakes here to outgun each other for Gazoo Racing, but they're not going to outgun Rackstraw. He is looking for the victory, and it looks like he's timed it to perfection. Into turn 5, Fostron corner. We got a new leader. We're on board here with Variawa looking straight back at Natim Msimanga as the Hedge complete another lap, and it doesn't look like Natim Msimanga is going to get that first win. He was looking very dangerous in the mid part of this race. As they cross the line, you can see it's now all about Rackstraw controlling things from the front end, trying to keep out a last-ditch effort there, possibly from Saad Variawa. Oh, not if he makes a mistake like that, though. Variawa runs wide out of turn 1, opens up the door, and Natim Msimanga moves up into second. So it's 2 young guns at the front end of GTC. It's exactly what they were expecting to happen this weekend, particularly with this inverted grid. Variawa was looking for a double victory. Unfortunately, he's thrown it away there with that small mistake into turn 1. He'll come through the kink now in 3rd place. His teammate on his tail will be Michael van Rooyen, but a bit far off the pace on a similar vein to what we're seeing here. Massive gaps opening up between 1, 2 and 3 in the GTC Super Cup category. And once again, it's Liebenberg taking on the front end and controlling things from that particular position. He hangs on over the Veloci Automobili machine of Keegan Campos and the Gosco car of Arnie Neveling. You can see just how evenly matched they were. And now that those gaps are established, they're very difficult to close down. One gap we're going to keep an eye on for the next couple of laps, probably for the last one now as they cross the line, is whether Saad Variawa is going to beat Natim Msimanga to the line. As they head towards Holes Hook for the last time, it's a battle royal. Natim Msimanga trying to come back at his teammate. Variawa's got through on him. And can he maintain it? He cannot afford to make any mistakes now. I don't think they're going to catch Rackstraw. Rackstraw has absolutely timed this to perfection. And in the background, where's Michael van Rooyen going? Van Rooyen off track. Oh, that's huge. He's going to lose out here to Robert Volk into turn 2. Now he manages to bring the Corolla back. Oh, the Yaris back in just in time, though, ahead of the Corolla. That chemical logistics car is now all over the back end of the Rustenburg Rocket and looking for a way through. That'll be up for 4th place. Gazoo Racing are looking for 2, 3 and 4 here. They're not going to get 1, 2 and 3. That's still got to come. And it's not too far away, I don't think, from the Gazoo Racing point of view. But Lee Thompson Racing, what an awesome job Lee's done on this car. And Rackstraw piloting it to perfection on a similar vein to what we saw with Brad Liebenberg behind that wheel. This car certainly is a great bit of maneuvering when it comes to the second race, particularly if it's at the front end. So Rackstraw now heading down towards Cape Town Corner on his home circuit, looking for a debut victory here for this LTR GTI and his first win in this category as well, in this car, as he comes to the line. Let's have a look and see if he can do it all together. Yes, he can. In the background, it's going to be Sawad Variawa from Natim Samanga. And Samanga, incredibly, on the podium here in his 4th race ever in GTCs. Brilliant stuff there from that young man, and certainly a man to watch out for in the future, particularly with him and his teammate going so well here in Cape Town. Volk hangs on to 4th, beats out Van Rooyen, so it's not a 2-3-4, it's a 2-3-5 for Gazoo Racing. Liebenberg just with the back straight and 2 corners, a corner and a little kink to go, in fact. And he has slowed up slightly. You can see Keegan Campos has closed the gap down, but it's just Brady Liebenberg easing off here on the last lap to ensure that the car will finish up and the Hype Energy machine will be on the top step of the podium again for the 2nd time today. A brilliant bit of driving here from Brad Liebenberg, staying out of harm's way there in that first corner fracas between himself, Campos and Neerveling, and those 3 still stayed at the front incredibly to win out the GTC battle. So the Super Cup cars go across the line, and it's Liebenberg wins out over Campos over Neerveling. And that's how they're going to finish up the second heat here of GTC Super Cup. Race 2 results there. Rackstraw takes the win over Variawa, Anam, Samanga, Volk and Van Rooyen, your top 5 in the GTCs. Top 5 in Super Cup, it's Liebenberg, Campos, Neerveling, Machotsi and Tata Carella. Let's catch up with race 2 winner.
How's it, guys? I'm Andrew Rackstraw. Today was just absolutely amazing. First race was P4. We had a few issues that we sorted out, but I was confident we were going to be fighting for the win in the second race. The second race, we made a small mistake starting from first, so dropped back to second and fought really, really hard to win it in front of my home crowd, which was such a special win. My first win in GTC, so hopefully many more to come.
Heading to Zwartkops is what the championship looks like. Sawad Variawa on top ahead of Robert Volk, and Rackstraw now moving himself into 3rd place overall for GTCs. In the Super Cup class, Campos hangs on to the lead overall ahead of Machotsi. After a spectacular day's racing here at the Killarney International Raceway, round 2 of the Extreme Festival is at Zwartkops on the 20th of May. We'll see you there. All this National Extreme Festival action is proudly brought to you by Comcare Medical Scheme, Dunlop Tires, Ferodo, the #1 in brakes, and Investchem.